Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages. My name is Mr. Evil Dragon. Welcome to the beautiful world of Delta.app One Hub Racing, and welcome to the San Marino Grand Prix. Welcome to Imola, and of course, we have all our beautiful drivers here today. A few new faces, a few that I think are missing, and always welcoming us is myself, solo commentating. Next week, though, I've heard I'm going to have a special guest joining me. We shall find that out next week. But I've heard it's going to be a very fun afternoon. But, of course, whilst we're waiting for a few seconds' time, there we go, the countdown for the beginning of qualifying here at Imola. Your championship leader, Callum unarmed on 55 points. Alongside him is McCoy as well, 50 for Kinley. Axelock on 48, 41 for Reese. Larkin on 34. Craig on 31 and Salau on 29 as well. 26 for Rob. Rich on 22. 22 for Jonas as well. And here we are on board with the cars. Then let's see. Well, we're on board with McCoy. So we'll stick with McCoy as we come down, of course, and towards Turn 1. I'm going to turn the game down because it's very loud in my ears quickly. So whilst we just do that, that's the wrong button. One of these buttons, there's the audio. Let's turn that down a tiny bit because, oh, that was loud. There we go. Coming out of Tamburano, down into Vilna. Chuck it to the left, quick to the right. Over the curbs, get it hooked up as well as you then come up into the quick left-hander. Jason has retired from the sessions. I scrambled to get every single thing straight up on the screen. So whilst we're looking at McCoy coming through down towards Acqua Minerale, if I remember correctly. It's been a long time since I've commentated on MLR. And it always tends to provide great racing, of course. Not on the F1 calendar anymore as you come down in towards the chicane. Chuck it into the right, into the left. And then, of course, you've got two more corners to come down at the end. So far, Reese currently doing very well. Kinley in second. Axelock in third. The two Saubers together as they come down then into the last two corners. And Callum and McCoy, these two are going to start getting a little bit more close together, I imagine, in a few moments' time. Up to line, it's Reese on pole. McCoy in fourth. Callum goes in fifth. So Larkin has split them both. Only 10 drivers completing their laps then here in San Marino. I do wish to say I do have a mild toothache, but we shall always give our best. And of course, Ryan saying, does PlayStation not have Discord? It does, but can't stream through it. That is the answer to that one. It is impossible to do that. That's what has issues we had in the first race, where I was going to have a Cocom, and they were on PC, and I was on PlayStation, and it didn't work. But it's Reese on pole, like I said, from Kinley, Axelock, McCoy, Larkin, Callum, Rick, Jamie, of course, new boy this afternoon, Magic, Kenji, Jason, Lawrence, Rob, Bonnet, and then we've got Fury and Salau at the back, both of those two with disqualifications. And nice sunshine as well. So, whilst we're waiting for that, we have some sponsors and partners to go through to Delta.app. Title Sponsor League. This is for over 18s only. All your investments in 1-8. Make smart decisions like the world's top investors and track your journey to success with Delta. If you use the command !Delta in the Twitch chat or click the link in the YouTube description, you'll be able to use it for track your investments. To Next Level Racing Sponsor League by providing prizes each season to dyslexia, always fun, apologies, right there. To Sim Racing Subs, they provide a pro racing bundle for F1 25, created by top esports drivers. They offer dry, intermediate and wet setups. There's also two types of dry setups as well. To Pure Sim Gear, Sponsor League providing sim racing socks and gloves to the driver, the most fast laps and poles over the course of the season. You can use the code OHR10P, that's OHR10P, to get 10% off their sim racing socks and gloves. To the Vespertine, part of Vespertine, who supports our official apparel and provides some great merch prizes. And to SimGrid, Bradbury SimGrid, who runs our seasons through the community and platforms. And of course, there is all of our sponsors for today as well. But like I said, of course, it's currently a break week for Season 28. So, of course, they will be racing next weekend as well. So, we got all the beautiful action here for one hub. Just for me, I get the whole week to myself. How kind of them. Imola, of course, hosting many races. Hosted the Italian Grand Prix back in 1980. Hosted a gaggle of races all the way up to 2006 and came back in 2020 to, of course, 2025. Of course, not on the calendar this season. Unfortunately, I wish it was because I do love Imola. But here we are, Webb. 5 red lights over here at San Marino. Lights out and away we go. Who gets a good start? Well, it's certainly going to be the Alpine who's rocketed away. Then here comes the Hasses then straight away down towards turn 1. But is everyone going to get through turn 1 correctly? On the inside, on the outside, they're trying to go around the outside. Here comes the Hass there. Has he got the car alongside? Yes, I think he has. Is Reese coming up the corner in the lead? Still he is. So they all come through. Then out of Tamburello, down towards Villeneuve. For the first time, Alpine, Hass. Then comes the 2 Saubers. Then comes the other Alpine. Followed by Williams, Ferrari and Aston Martin there. As they all come through, then up Ravazza for the first time. And everyone holding station behind. No one seems to be making any mistakes. But a critically good start there is Madge and Jason switch position. And Kenzie dropping down 1 position at the back. And we've got a car around. And who is that gone off? 2 cars off. And is that a safety car? Well, it's certainly yellows. And it's the Red Bull of Bonnie. And Fury off as well. Front wing damage on one. Front wing damage on the other. Harry Craig's disconnected, apparently. Madge dropping down the field as well, wondering if he's got any damage on that car. As they come then down towards the back end of the circuit. And more contact there. And that is Rob trying to get up the inside of the Mercedes. But it's Reese who leads the way then. Here on that 2. And the 2 Haas drivers now battling down towards turn 1. Almost wheel to wheel, almost banging as they come through then. And it's Axelock then ahead of Kinley. And then, of course, continuing behind the 2 Saubers. Running line astern as they were in qualifying. So far together in the race, the top 2 in the championship positions. Currently 4th and 5th, of course, the slowest car on the grid. But they won't matter so much. They are absolutely flying. Reese, 1.6 seconds the lead then. Axelock and Kinley, McCoy, Callum. And then, of course, following it down, Larkin, Rich, Lawrence, Jamie up into 9th. Of course, doing well in P4 so far this season. Ahead of Jason, Rob, Madge, Kenzie, Salau, of course, like we said, just had a pit stop a few moments ago, joining Fury and Bonnie, who had front wing changes. We do believe they've completed their front wing changes. Yes, they have completed their front wing changes. So, as we begin lap number 3, 1 penalty so far this afternoon, and that is 10 seconds of Fury for speeding in the pit lane. So, an issue for him. Very easy to do around Imola. The pit lane comes very quick at you, and of course, back in the old days where it used to be a bit of an easier chicane. Here is Axelock and Kenny side by side. They make contact, and somehow they managed to keep themselves on the island. But this is now McCoy, and look, here is Callum. Dives to the inside, down towards Villeneuve, and the 2 championship leaders go side by side and round the outside. What a stunning manoeuvre there from your championship leader. These 2, of course, joint championship leaders. And Callum there showing, of course, not won a race this season. But he, of course, the man on a mission to win this championship. Can he win it with 0 wins? It's a tall order, but he's certainly consistently up the front when he needs it. Last week, of course, he finished 4th. McCoy finished 7th. So the 2 drivers very close together. But it is Kinley who is currently 2nd. Reese, of course, leading this race. Axelock in 3rd. Callum 4th. And further down the field, a bit of a gaggle of cars dropping here as we scroll through. You can see Jamie there down in 10th position, but back up the front. DRS activated. Here is McCoy's chance. try and get Callum then down the straight, but he has not got no ERS. Neither is his teammate. But here we go then to the outside line, down into Tamburello. Late manoeuvre, not going to work this time around. Callum just holds the inside line, and it's a brave opportunity, but he can't quite do it on this lap. And up front now, 3.1 seconds. Reese, with a bit between his teeth, currently P5, has had 2 victories this season in round 1 and, of course, round 4. DNF'd in 2, 3 and 5. Which does mean, I think the stream title might be wrong, because I think it says round 8. It's a slight mistake on that part, because commentating on other little bits and bobs. Numbers seem to might have got mixed up. It'll be fixed, don't worry. Someone will fix that when they see that it's potentially ever so slightly wrong. It feels like we're in round 8 already. We are in round 6. As Callum and McCoy, 4th and 5th. Lap number 4. And you've got to say right now, McCoy has got the bit between his teeth. He seems quicker right now at this stage of the race. And the best opportunity, of course, down, of course, into Tamburello with the help of ERS. Both of them saving, but I don't think there's going to be anything that Callum's going to do. He'll pull to the inside. There goes McCoy, straight up in position. And watch out here for the Alpine, who's coming at a very rapid rate of knots. There is Larkin, but can't quite do it. There is Jason. They're battling away and getting ahead of Jamie for 10th and 11th. Fury with another penalty. 16 seconds now the McLaren driver has got. So he's having all sorts of troubles this afternoon in this race. As the 2 Williams now go side by side, and it's Rob passing Rich round the outside, down, of course, into Ravazza. And he's got the job done A-OK right there. 4.3 seconds. That gap opening up all the time. You've got to say, this is a very, very impressive drive right now for Reese. Like you said, has won 2 races so far this season. Looking for that 3rd race victory, which will, of course, start pushing him up a little bit closer to these top guys. And he's still got a long shot of winning this championship. We have got a few races to go after this one. Kinley 2nd. Axelock still in 3rd. And here, of course, the 2 championship leaders. As things stand right now, it will be Kai leading the championship by a couple of points over Callum. A bit of a twitch left from the driver we're riding on board with down the straight. And here we go, DRS then. Is he close enough to get a move down towards turn 1? Well, he's going to be alongside, especially. Here we go then. Round the outside, down into Tamburello. Has he got the job done? Yes, he has then. So switching around again this afternoon. And Larkin just sitting behind. And is Larkin going to think about a move down in towards Villeneuve? Thinks better of it on this lap. It's a very brave opportunity down into Villeneuve. You can, of course, go up the inside into Ravazza. The corner wedge is coming through right now. But, of course, you have to really get the exit of Villeneuve correct. And he was a little bit caught up there. So the Alpine in 6th, the Ferrari of Lawrence. Now, my fellow other commentator who commentates in P3, currently running in 7th position. Did say he might join me in comms and racing, but has decided, of course, not to today. Gap up front now 6.1 seconds. It's pulling over, that's over a second a lap nearly up this current stage of the race. About 8-9 tenths, I believe, give or take. As McCoy still behind. Now, are we going to see a repeat of what we just saw a few moments ago then with the DRS down the straight as Lawrence has come into the pit lane. And here we go, McCoy. Be brave to go around the outside from that far back. Thinks better of it right now. Can he get a good exit out of this corner? Try to unsettle the other Sauber. Doesn't quite have the gumph beneath him at this stage of the race. But you can just see the rear ends of these tyres starting to slide. Lap 12, we believe. The Delta, where we start to see the drivers come in a lot more. At least by lap 12. As further down here is Lawrence, just coming out pit lane on the set of hard compound tyres. And we'll go probably, what, 13, 14 laps. Jason, 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. And what is an absolutely beautiful circuit, I must say. Like I said, has hosted many an F1 race, hosted the Italian Grand Prix, one of the very few times the Italian Grand Prix not held at Monza, of course, San Marino in 1980, a race where pretty much many drivers did not finish the race, of course. Yellow flags, that's Bonnie, who's had a mistake and has damaged the front left end plate, so has had a spin as McCoy and Larkin as in comes Callum. Then, so in comes the Sauber, lap 8 of this race. 32, of course, total. As in he comes, instead of hard compound tyres, so a little bit earlier than my brain was predicting. But gets to get back out on circuit very quickly indeed, and will rejoin. It will be ahead of Lawrence. The answer is how much is that gap going to be? Should be around about... Well, I said it was going to be out for 3-4 seconds. I think it's going to be 0. Here he comes up the inside. Yellow flags flying as there's a car that's had a mistake there. I think it's Madge in the Red Bull. But all of a sudden, here is Lawrence's opportunity, and he's now ahead of Callum. So the strategy there for the Ferrari, the Tifosi, of course, will be ecstatic of that one. And of course, the Enzo Dino Ferrari circuit, which it used to be called, here in Imola, of course named after Enzo Ferrari's son, who died tragically at a very young age. Of course had a Ferrari, the Ferrari Dino named after him. And the Tifosi are going to be happy with this one as in comes Reese, in comes Axel, in comes presumably a few others as well. And now we're working down the exit of the pit then. We believe Reese will definitely be safe. But the answer is where is the other guys going to come out on this one? Because they're going to be awfully close together. I think Kinley should be okay in second. McCoy is going to, unless he's got a very good lap, will drop down a position here. As he exits the pit then, you'll see him on the right-hand side of the circuit. Hasn't come out yet, and here comes around the outside on the grass. Trying to go around the outside is Callum. Can't quite do it there. Very audacious, very brave. Didn't quite do it, but here we go then, down towards Villeneuve. Thinks still better of it. Trying to go up the inside there on this lap. It's always going to be difficult. As Bonnie gets a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits then. And you can just see the delta gap there, 3.4 seconds. That is the gap, of course, between pitting one lap to the other. And what this will presumably mean is Larkin and Axellock will drop down positions. He's talking, and Larkin 10-second time penalty. So that's not what he wanted to have happen then. So a 10-second time penalty. He will serve that later on in the race. Axelot coming out, and I think will be very close to Lawrence and the Sauber of Callum. And here comes Callum, and this is going to be awfully close. Down towards turn number 1 as he passes one car. He'll pass the Haas on the inside. Here comes the Ferrari up the inside as well. Gets the job done. And I think Axel Leclerc very wisely decided to get out of that one. Yellow flags. And that's the Red Bull. Which I think is having an issue because I can't actually go to the outboard camera. Now we can. And has damaged the front left end plate. So the second time we've seen a Red Bull have a mistake this afternoon in the exit of the Villeneuve chicane. And this one will drop Madge down the order a fair little bit, I imagine. He must have spun it on the exit of curb, I imagine. It is Rich currently leading this race on the held compound tyres. Lap 10 of this race. And is doing absolutely everything that he needs to do so far, with Reese in second. Like we said, he will take the lead in due course when the cars around him do pit. Jason, of course, doing brilliantly on those medium compound tyres. So is Madge as well. Well and certainly up on a fair few laps as in comes Madge, of course. We'll get that new front wing. New front wing then on the Red Bull driver. McCoy in ninth position. You've got to say he's going to be a little bit frustrated here. This has not gone the way he really wanted to do. That pitting ever so slightly later than the cars around him has dropped him down to ninth position. It will be, I think, a net 5th or 6th so far. But his championship rival has got 2 cars now in between him. He's got Lawrence and Axellock and Larkin to deal with. And all 5 of them very close together on circuit. Kinley just a few positions up the road as well. Currently in net T2, like we said. 2 cars yet to stop. That is the race leader currently. And of course, Jason, who we believe will be in at the end of this lap. So we shall see in just a few moments' time. How long can he stretch those hard compound tyres? Is wondering for Rich. Well, that's exactly how long you can stretch those hard compound tyres. Exactly 11 laps. And we're going to guess it. Jason will dive into the pit lane as well, surely, because it won't be going longer than hard. Is he going to get the car slowed down? Yes, he will. Absolutely stopped on the marks, which will promote now Kinley up to P2. But the gap up front now, it's over 10 seconds. Callum in 3rd, but here comes all of a sudden, here comes Lawrence. And that is critical for Lawrence then, get his position done. And here on about the Haas, think about the move up the inside. The 3 Ferrari-powered cars running 3rd, 4th, 5th position so far. As we come down into Villeneuve, and Lawrence there, bringing a surprise. He's been up and down the field so far this season. He's currently sitting in 13th in the standings. 8th, 8th, 9th, 14th and 8th. So he's very consistently in the upper echelons of the midfield. And he's doing wonderfully right now, like we said, of course. Currently P3 in that Ferrari, which we know, of course, is going to be a quicker car than, of course, the Sauber. And the car behind of Axellock as well. As a big twitch there from the Sauber. Gets it all hooked up low and it's fine. As Jason and Jamie, meanwhile, battling down as they come through Akman Winnerale. And I believe that Jason is ahead of Jamie there. And both of them racing in the P4 tier. Oh, big twitch again. And it just looks like the Sauber not hooked up. Neither the Ferrari. ERS, DRS enabled as we come down lap 13 of 32. And are we going to see an overspeed here as he come down the straight? He's going to pinch him to the inside. Can he go around the outside of 1? Can he go around the outside of 2? Yes, he can. Keep it up with the circuit. No, he can't. Straight through the gravel. What about rejoining? Rejoins behind and didn't quite do it. Canard can't quite come up the inside of Axellock there. Of Lawrence. But Axellock overcooking it. Very audacious manoeuvre, will I say. But couldn't quite get it stopped. We are coming towards the midway point here in Imola. Here, of course, for the Realistic Performance League. Here for Delta.app 1 Hub Racing. And don't forget, of course, if you are watching, of course, don't forget to like and subscribe if you are on the YouTube as well. And don't forget, as well, in the Twitch chat, to let us know how you think and who do you think is going to be your driver of the day. Well, it's certainly going to be Reese, I think. He has put not a foot wrong so far. As talking of putting a slight foot wrong was Axellock there over the curb. And these guys all getting ever so closer together and almost looking up the inside into the penultimate corner. And this is going to be a real scrabble down towards turn 1 then. And we're going to go 3 wide. Up the inside, 3 abreast then. And Axellock there slotting it through the middle. Absolutely got the job done. And Callum, I don't think, is going to put too much of a fight at this stage of the race. The Haas driver up into 3rd with a brilliant, tenacious move through the middle and yellow flags. And who's that for? It's Kenzie, who's got trouble in this race. And I will say, it looked like Axellock almost dropping the car in the background. Well, he's kept it all hooked up there just on the exit of the Villeneuve chicane. And my oh my, that looked like it was an almighty of a tank slapper from the offboard camera. Jason, 3-second time penalty for exceeding the track limits. We are on lap 14 and 32. Currently, like we said, 3rd and 4th holding together. Mikhailo down in 7th. Not what he wants to do for his championship aspirations. He needs to really be alongside him, really just with Callum, but we know how consistent Callum has been this season. Is out of the way there, the McLaren. DRS enabled down towards the Tamburello chicane. No manoeuvres coming down towards there on this particular lap. As the two McLarens now a lap down, I believe. So both of them not having the afternoon they want. As here comes up the inside Lawrence. Think about a move down in towards the Villeneuve chicane. Can't quite do it. Has set him off put. Thinks about a dive up the inside. And that's cheeky for Lawrence. He knows what he's doing. Couldn't quite hook it up that time around. And he is driving brilliantly right now. Fury, another time penalty. Has to be getting dangerously late, 20 to 25 seconds it feels right now. So he's definitely having all the issues, and he has served a 10-second time penalty so far this race. He did have 10, it was on 16, so it is of course back down again, so he has reduced that gap, but it was very much would have been over 20 seconds so far. Of course, it does happen. You do have these races where things go wrong, and this circuit very unforgiving. His match gets a 3-second time penalty. Talking of that, here comes Lawrence down the straight, pulls to the inside, gets the job done. Straight up to 4th, and this is now starting to look a little bit more tasty for your driver, who's Peter in the championship and McCoy. You can now see one car in between them, as off goes the Ferrari, and back to 2 then. Between them is Lawrence, has made a mistake out of the Tamburello chicane. Had definitely all 4 wheels off the circuit. So likely he's got the car. It's almost spinning there as Callum as well. And he's really struggling with the rear end on this car. Top 3 remained as they are from the beginning of this race. Reese, Kimberly and Axel Lockley are now just the midway point of this afternoon's Grand Prix here at the San Marino Grand Prix here at Imola. And what a beautiful battle here, gathering then for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. All together, all pushing on the Alpine and the Ferrari in a Sauber sandwich. And what this is going to mean for Peter Sauber, of course, he'll be over the moon, of course, to see his cars in the games running well, of course. Scoring points in real life, yellow flags for Bonnie. As here comes the Ferrari to the inside again, and this time does he get the move done? Yes, he does, but can he keep it on the island on the exit? Oh, you can just see how much struggling there, and it just looks like here comes Larkin to the inside. No, thinks better of it. And what great racing then, and very fair fighting. And Lawrence currently back up into P4. Up 8 positions so far this race, the biggest gainer of all drivers. Everyone has made their first stops this afternoon. 2 stops for Fury. And the penalty situation, as you can see on screen. 3 for Axelock, 10 for Larkin, 3, 12 for Jason, 3, 10, 15 and 3. As you can see right there. We're expecting people to start coming in around about lap 20 on those hard compound tyres, we believe, given that it lasted around 10 laps earlier on. It's 3rd and 4th still together. Yellow flags, and that is Kenzie, we believe, getting out of the way, having a struggle, like we said, down the back with the issues that car has got. We presume he has got floor damage. Potentially Fury as well, who is really struggling, I will say, through the chicanes. And you've got to feel a little bit of sympathy. It is, like I said, a very easy circuit to make mistakes. And when you start picking up one, you start picking up another, and then it snowballs around here. And it just drags you in. And the white lines, of course, unforgiving around this circuit. A very old school circuit indeed, with very few changes from its inception, of course, apart from the chicanes, which were added, of course, after the horrible accidents in 1994, which, of course, cost the lives of Ratzenberger and Senna. As we see the Ferrari leading this field so far, and this is going to be an opportunity for Callum then. Down the straight. And let's see, which way is he going to go? Outside or inside? Well, it'll be the inside, we presume. It's the outside, he will presume. Then round the outside he comes, and it'll be a very easy manoeuvre then with the DRS and a little bit of helping hand from the ERS as well. Back up into 4th position. And these, well, it's really these two yo-yoing around the circuit. Very wide. That's going to allow Larkin through. So I said they were yo-yoing around the circuit. And a mistake immediately. And Lawrence then down into 6th position now. As we see then. And that was McCoy having a mistake, and that is the McLaren. We believe that's Kenzie behind them. And yeah, Fury, he's got to be careful. And hello to Colin in the chat. Fury, he has got to be careful though with, what is it now? It's 21 seconds. I think it's 28 seconds, and it's a disqualification around here. So he is dangerously close to it, and yellow flags, and I think that is actually Fury, who's made a mistake then, so he spun the car in. He has definitely got floor damage, as in has come McCoy, as Callum and Larkin have switched positions, so Larkin all of a sudden up into P4. So the two drivers there switching position, and oh, we've seen these three all this afternoon battling away, but it is McCoy who is going to try and trigger this undercut strategy. We know how powerful the undercut is around here. Will be on those hard compound tyres. 12 laps to the end. That will be doable. They may just run out of steam a little bit on the last lap or two, but it should be okay. And this will presumably mean these 4th, 5th and 6th will be straight in the pit lane on this lap. In comes Reese then, your race leader, who has a 19-second advantage up front. It's Fury now up to that 25 seconds, I believe. And let's see then, are we going to see Larkin, Callum and Lawrence all dive in? Well, Reese is in the pit lane, in comes Axelot, and these three surely now will all stay in. Nope, staying out then is Lawrence. So, is he going for a different strategy? I'm guessing this will mean a set of medium compound tyres then towards the end of the race. If he can get to lap 23, a roundabout lap, set of medium tyres to the end of the race will certainly be possible. But where is McCoy going to come out of all of this? That's the critical question, because we know how powerful the undercut strategy is. And look to the right-hand side of the circuit. You will see a Sauber relieving the circuit right about now. Was there close enough to a dive up towards the first corner? No, there isn't, but he has the tyres a lot more warm right now. And now all of a sudden, the two championship protagonists back together, 7th and 8th. Through Villeneuve. And now it's about how quickly can Callum get these tyres hooked up. We know McCoy has seemed this afternoon to be the quicker of the two Saubers, but for whatever reason has not managed to get ahead. Of course, with the pit stop earlier on, pitting later cost him. Pitting earlier will put him back into position. It will give him the DRS on this lap, as long as he can keep within the 1 second delta, as Lawrence is continuing to stay out up front. In comes Kimley then, set a medium compound tyre. So, like I said, around about 10 laps is about the medium compound delta. Set soft compound tyres for Fury up the back, so he's just having some fun there. As we keep a little eye then for these two, and it's a little bit of a mistake there potentially for McCoy because he's now dropped out of a second, but he has still got the DRS, so he will be able to pull himself back in ever so slightly. As you go down then, turn number 1 out of 2 into 3, 5th, 6th, up into 7th, and of course down into the Villeneuve chicane. Straight down to 3-4 gears, chuck it in. It's very, very fast if you hook it up in the qualifying. Of course, when these cars heavy on the race fuel, they certainly are a little bit more lethargic around there, but still absolutely brilliantly quick. As a battle here, like we said, we've got Rob, that is Larkin, Salau as well. Rob, of course, doing a brilliant job so far in this race. As off the road, and that's the wall. And that's that Fury. I think it is. And you can really just see how horrible of a time he's having then. And then I definitely think he has got suspension damage. And because that car spun way more easier than it should have. And I won't be unsurprised if he pulls to the pit lane to retire the car. Of course, we don't want to see it, but I do feel that car has got substantial damage as Rob gets a 3-second time penalty. It's Kinley and Axelot 3rd and 4th, but what about this? It's Callum still ahead of McCoy. Lawrence has pitted for a set of medium compound tyres. So he is now the hunter in this battle, but you can see how much time he has lost then. Nearly 5 seconds to the car ahead. And everyone now on their final stops this afternoon. Biggest gainer is now Jason. And there is the penalty situation. Apologies there. As we are beginning the last 8 and a bit laps then here in San Marino. And what has been certainly a domination of a drive from the Alpine driver. He has had a hit ratio of 1, 2, potentially now on to 3 victories. Every other race he's raced in, a DNF, and more DNF. So he's certainly a specialist at winning the race. And, well, if he's not winning, I expect he'll be in a incident or in a mistake, because it has seemed to prove that way so far this season. As in comes Jason, as we continue looking at here, the 2 Saubers, and that is, I believe, is that one of the Red Bulls in between them with Bonnie? I think it is. So he'll be getting the blue flags then to be told to move over, get out of the way, or he will serve a time penalty for ignoring blue flags, or pull to the inside around about now and let the car through. And Lawrence now has got that gap down 2.4 seconds now, the gap. Closing all the time, and I think McCoy's struggling a little bit here, you know. He was just about a second a few moments ago. He's now over 2 seconds, and Callum pushing on hard, pushing on fast. The championship leader, like we said, hasn't won a race so far this season, and is absolutely being consistent as he can possibly be. Like we said, of course, earlier on, it is... sorry, my apologies. He has won a race this season. My apologies there. Only 1 race victory so far this season. It's McCoy who hasn't won a race this season. It's Callum with 3rd, 1st, 10th, 7th and 4th, compared to his teammate, I suppose, in this race at least, of 2nd, 7th, 4th, 3rd and 7th. And the 2 Saubers will presumably be in these cars for a little bit. And Kinley, who will be... you know what? Kinley might actually be in the championship after this. It'll be very close between these guys. And the race performance, albeit, is definitely sometimes making the racing a little bit more spread out. Certainly for the title fight, getting a lot closer each race. And this is what we like to see. As yellow flags, and that is the Sauber! And crucially, that's Callum! He's off! Into the wall. Has he got damage on the Sauber? The outboard camera shows no, but he's gone and made a mistake. And that will certainly help him, McCoy, who will now certainly be in the championship lead again, I believe. And Kinley will be very close as well, but that is a critical mistake. And we don't know what happened, if he just lost the car on the exit, but whatever has occurred, down in 7th. And I have certainly got a lump growing in the throat of my voice. But we have only got just over, what, 4 to 6 laps to go in this race. Here goes Callum then straight to get back past, and here ahead of Rob. Job done back around the outside. Now, can he do anything to get back up into those positions he lost earlier on? 5 seconds on what is going to be worn now medium tyres. Very overheated. His main real happiness here is going to be praying that Lawrence can continue to close the gap to McCoy, which he certainly is doing right now. And here is where he went off, of course, the Sauber. And you can just see by the tyre marks, we're going to guess has dipped a wheel in the gravel trap on the exit of the corner. And it's spat him round. He'll be very lucky if he hasn't picked up extreme damage. He's your race leader. Has picked up a 3-second time penalty. It doesn't really matter for him right now. 30 seconds, the lead then. And this is true domination. Truly an absolutely brilliant drive from the Alpine driver. 9/10 the second now. Lawrence to McCoy. As yellow flags is out, is finally on Fury. Has had a amalgamation of issues this afternoon. Is, of course, understandably, I think, has called it the day. On that 27 of 32. And you can just see here as Rob is now ahead of Callum then. So this is, well, if it can go bad for Unarmed, it certainly is not going the way he wants. He's made that mistake earlier on. Has presumably overheated the tyres, maybe to a point where they're still not at the best temperature. And they're still struggling. So he really now needs to bet all hopes on that McCoy can have a mistake, which will presumably mean that Kinley will win the championship. But it is all hotting up indeed. Lap 28, coming on to lap 29 now for your race leader. In fact, we are on lap 28 currently. And these guys are on lap 27. And in comes the second McLaren into the pit lane. And, oh dear, that'll be a terrible ordeal for the McLaren team with both retirements in this race. But I think Kenzie is staying out, of course. Bonnie on the set of soft compound tyres, so potentially just going for some fast laps right at the end. Here comes Callum then, down the straight. And like we said, it's very easy to make a manoeuvre down here. Ahead he does. Ahead is Lawrence now, critically. Ahead then, now can he open that gap? So as Callum passes and gets a position ahead of the Williams, the Ferrari has got the other Sauber. So that's exactly what he needed to have happen. And it's now 4th, but with that penalty, can he open the 3-second gap? Well, he's already a second ahead. So let's see. We'll definitely have the fresher tyres and all the way to the end of the race. These tyres will not degrade exponentially in the last couple of laps because, of course, he's only got 3-4 laps to go in these tyres. They last about 10 12 laps before they extremely start to wear in. So as long as he can now try and open the gap and get away, this will help, of course, Callum's championship aspirations. But what this really does mean that Kinley, I believe he's only 5 points behind, will lead the championship as we come into the last couple of races. And it's starting to get a little bit closer. And I tell you what, Axelox as well, very close to yellow flags. I think that was for, I think that's a Williams, or is that, in fact, Reese lapping a car? I think it's lapping Jamie. Yes, it is. So, I tell you what, you can almost cruise to the end of this race if you wanted to right now. What is realistically a 25-second gap. And Axelock, of course, with the penalty as well, it will probably stick behind his teammate. But we know these Formula 1 drivers. They are going to be aggressive. They are going to push each other to the end of the race. So I won't be surprised to see... I won't be surprised potentially to see Kinley and Axelok switch positions here. And the mediums versus the hards. And these two got to be very careful they do not end up colliding together. As Kenzie gets a time penalty. I thought for a second that was Kinley getting a time penalty. Here we go then. DRS lap 30 of this race. Jason time penalty. Here comes the two Hasses. And I don't think there's going to be too much of a fight between the pair of them at this stage. Kinley happy to let his teammate through, of course, with the time penalty. Unless he can open a really big gap very quickly, will drop back behind. But it is very close. And here comes the Sauber again then. And it's swapping and changing here between Rob and Callum. And Callum now still back ahead of Rob. As we are now coming to the 31st penultimate lap in this race. And it really just shows you the gulf of the gap the leader has. He is currently crossing the line right now. And the second position is only just coming into the third sector at this very moment. And what domination this is certainly is. From pretty much start to, well, he's going to be to the finish. As the top three really have only switched one position. As yellow flags. And who's that? That's the Ferrari. The Ferrari has made a mistake, and that's Lawrence. And that's out of Acma and Durali, and that's certainly going to help McCoy. As my voice is certainly going. As we are beginning then the penultimate lap, here comes Rob again. And which race will be, again, a very easy manoeuvre with the DRS then. So we're going to have one opportunity then for Callum to get back through, down into 7th currently. And let's see where can he go. And it's going to be a fight all the way to the end of the race. We believe it's going to be McCoy who will take 4th position. Because unless, of course, he makes a mistake and Lawrence can get 3 seconds in a lap, it's going to be a very tall order. 1.7 the gap between 2nd and 3rd, 1.8. So there's still a chance that Axelot can actually outpace and outgap Kinley. It's going to be awfully close. But this is the real battle so far we're looking at. I'll tell you what, not too behind is the race leader. So we're going to have 1 and a bit laps to go then for these guys. And it's half a lap to go for your race leader. 30 seconds the gap. He's driven a brilliant race. As here we go then with the DRS and all of them dumping all the ERS they can. Here comes Lawrence then. Which way is he going to go? To the outside then. On the last opportunity. He's done it around the outside and on to the last lap of the race. As through then the last couple of corners comes the race leader. And from what has been an absolutely domination of a drive, nearly perfect with really only one mistake earlier on, Reese then to the line, will win then here in Imola. As across line he comes and there's someone's lost the front wing. And that must be Kenzie who's had a mistake somewhere because the front wing is gone. But who is going to finish 2nd and who is going to finish 3rd? 2.6 the gap. And it's getting a very close and a little bit touchy right now for Kinley. 2.7. 2.8. And he'll just about finish. So it'll be Axelot will finish 3rd. As here is the battle then. And it's all of a sudden. It's pandemonium. And I think to be fair actually. Callum's going to finish. It's going to be 4th for McCoy. And it's going to be Callum who will finish in 5th. Lawrence and Robin 6 and 7. Larkin 8th. Salau 9th. And Jason will cross the line in 10th and Rich in 11th. And what a great race that certainly has provided. Whew. What that means for my throat is it certainly doesn't exist anymore. What a great race, though, I must say, for Rees, who has absolutely dominated this race. Like we said, from start, from the very first corner to the very last corner of this race. Made one real mistake in this race, getting a 3-second time penalty earlier on, but has, apart from that, put no foot wrong. And probably one of the strongest drives we have ever seen. And it's Alpine, Haas and Hassler, the top 3 steps on the podium. Was hopefully we can actually go through the rundown. So Rees then wins this race from Kim, the Axelot, McCoy, Callum, Lawrence, Rob, Larkin, Salau, Rich, Jason, Jamie, Madge, Bonnie, Kenzie and Fury rounding off the grid at the back. But before we end off the stream, we shall give a quick rundown, if my voice lasts it, through the sponsors and partners to Delta.app, title sponsors of the league. This is for over 18s only. All your investments in one app make smart decisions, like the world's top investors, and track your journey to success with Delta. If you use the command !Delta in the Twitch chat, or click the link in the YouTube description, you'll be able to use it to track your investments. 2 next level racing, Sponsor League providing prizes to each of the seasons. 2 sim racing setups, they provide a pro setup bundle for F1 25 created by top esports drivers. They offer dry, intermediate and wet setups. There's also 2 types of dry setups, safe and esports. They also provide strategies, tips and a track map on when to use ERS during qualifying. Sponsor League providing vouchers for the weekly Driver of the Day runs and the Driver of the Season, who finishes with the most Driver of the Days, can also use code for One Hub Racing to get 5% off their setups. Pure Sim Gear, Sponsor League providing sim racing socks and gloves to the driver with the most fast laps and poles over the course of the season. Can use the code OHR10P, that's OHR10P, to get 10% off their sim racing socks and gloves. To Vespertine, part of Vespertine, who sports our official apparel and also provides great merch prizes to SimGrid. Powered by SimGrid, runs our seasons through their community and platform. And well, that has certainly been an afternoon. Hopefully, of course, I believe I'll be joined by a special guest next week, which will be very slightly emotional for me as well, because I believe I know who it is. But of course, until next time, of course, I have been Evil. Don't forget, of course, to join us, like I said, next week. Of course, break week for the season 28. So you'll be joining up me exactly in 7 days' time for another race, of course. Until then, I've been Evil, and take care.